The doctor Padre Pio spoke of was not an ordinary man. He was brilliant, highly respected, and known for saving lives that others believed were already lost. Patients adored him, colleagues envied him, and entire families saw him as a miracle worker. At first, his talent was a gift he used with humility. He prayed before surgeries, thanked God for every success, and saw himself as an instrument rather than a master. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifted inside him. Every successful operation fed a growing seed of pride. Every praise from a grateful family became fuel for a belief that he was more than just a doctor. "I saved that life," he would say, and with each triumph, the line between serving and controlling blurred. He began to see himself not as a healer guided by grace, but as the ultimate authority over life and death. His confidence hardened into arrogance. When colleagues suggested caution, he dismissed them. When patients expressed fear, he offered reassurance, but not out of compassion, out of superiority. He believed he understood life better than anyone else. He believed outcomes were in his hands alone. And the more he believed this, the less room he left for God. There were moments when he made decisions not for the patient's good, but to prove his own skill. He chose risky procedures to demonstrate mastery, convinced that failure was impossible for someone of his brilliance. In his heart, he began to believe he could not be wrong. People still admired him, unaware of the silent transformation happening within. Outwardly, he looked like a hero. Inwardly, he had begun to worship the illusion of his own power. And it was this quiet, dangerous pride, the belief that he controlled life itself, that set the stage for what Padre Pio would later witness in the realm beyond. Before his fall into spiritual blindness, the doctor was given countless opportunities to see the truth. Warnings came to him quietly, gently yet unmistakably. But pride has a way of making even the clearest signs look insignificant, and the doctor brushed aside every one of them. It began with small moments. A patient once thanked God for surviving a risky surgery, and the doctor felt a sting of irritation. "Why thank God?" he thought. "I'm the one who saved you." It was a subtle red flag, one that would have humbled a wiser soul. But he ignored it, considering such thoughts natural for someone of his skill. Then came a failed procedure, one in which he had dismissed advice from a more experienced colleague. The loss of the patient should have broken him, should have brought him to reflection, but instead it hardened him. He convinced himself it was unavoidable, that he had done nothing wrong. The gentle voice of conscience that whispered, "You should have listened," was silenced by his pride. Another warning appeared when a young nurse told him she prayed for him before surgeries. Instead of gratitude, he felt annoyance. "I don't need prayers," he snapped. "I need precision." It was a moment that revealed how far he had drifted from humility. Yet he refused to see it. Even his body tried to warn him. Sleepless nights, anxiety, and annoying restlessness haunted him. These were signals of a soul becoming spiritually imbalanced. But instead of examining his heart, he worked harder, pushing himself to prove he was untouchable. God's warnings are often gentle, never forced. They come as unease, humility, doubt, or the compassionate words of others. But the doctor had become deaf to anything that questioned his authority. And with every ignored warning, he stepped further away from grace and closer to the revelation Padre Pio would soon witness. The third sign of the dying free market is the disappearance of real supply and demand signals. Prices used to tell the truth. They used to move only when something tangible changed in the real world. A shortage, an abundance, a shift in productivity, or a genuine rise in consumer demand. Today, however, prices respond less to reality and more to narratives, speculation, automated trading, and corporate manipulation. The number on the price tag no longer reflects what something is worth. It reflects what powerful actors want you to believe it is worth. In many industries, especially housing, food, healthcare, and energy, Prices rise even when supply increases. Homes become more expensive even when construction accelerates. Food becomes pricier even when warehouses are full. Medicine costs more every year regardless of demand. This is not economics. This is engineered inflation. Part of the distortion comes from financialization. Assets are now treated like betting chips rather than tangible goods. Investors speculate on everything: rent, crops, water, even future scarcity, and these bets bleed into the real world. The result is artificial price pressure that affects ordinary people who have no role in creating it. But another part comes from consolidation. When 3 or 4 mega companies dominate an entire market, competition becomes an illusion. They raise prices together, lower quality together, and blame market forces while secretly coordinating their moves through signals, data, or strategic silence. The scariest part is that people have stopped questioning it. When prices rise, the public assumes it is just how things are, a natural law rather than a manufactured outcome. And once society stops recognizing price manipulation, the free market is no longer free. It becomes a scripted performance where the audience believes the actors are in control of the stage. The fourth sign of the death of free markets is the rise of corporate gatekeeping, where a handful of companies decide who gets access to opportunity, visibility, and economic survival. In a true free market, anyone can enter, compete, and grow through merit. But today, the path to success is increasingly controlled by giant platforms, data monopolies, and algorithmic systems that act as invisible judges. Consider how a small business used to operate. It could open a shop, attract customers, and slowly build a reputation. But now, visibility depends on ranking algorithms, ad budgets, platform fees, and opaque rules that change without notice. A company doesn't fail because its product is bad. It fails because it cannot afford to play the algorithm. The market is no longer a competition of ideas. It is a competition of who can pay for the gatekeeper's approval. The same pattern exists in media, transportation, housing, and even job markets. Major platforms decide whose content is seen, whose homes are rented, whose deliveries are prioritized, and whose resumes appear first in automated hiring systems. These algorithms are not neutral. They are designed to maximize the profits of the companies that own them, not to create fair competition. The result is a distorted economy where opportunity is not distributed by skill or innovation, but by access to platforms. A few companies become the toll booths of modern life, taking a cut from every transaction, controlling who succeeds, and shutting out anyone who threatens their dominance. Over time, the market becomes frozen. New entrants disappear. Small innovators die early. Consumers have fewer choices. And the idea that anyone can make it slowly fades into myth. This is not a free market. This is a controlled ecosystem disguised as capitalism. The fifth and final sign of the death of free markets is the emergence of an economy where prices no longer reflect reality. In a healthy market, prices rise and fall based on supply, demand, productivity, and competition. But today, prices are shaped by speculation, manipulation, artificial scarcity, and financial engineering, not by the true value of goods. Housing prices rise even when population growth slows. Food prices increase even when harvests are strong. Stock prices soar while companies lay off workers and report declining performance. Meanwhile, wages barely move, no matter how hard people work. The connection between effort and reward has quietly snapped. This happens because the market is no longer driven by real-world activity. It is driven by financial instruments, derivatives, investment flows, and algorithmic trading. Money chases money, not value. The price you pay for anything, a home, a car, a meal, even a basic necessity, is shaped more by investor behavior than by actual cost. For ordinary people, This creates confusion and frustration. They feel the world becoming more expensive, yet cannot explain why. They sense that something invisible is pushing prices upward, but they cannot point to any single cause. That confusion is part of the problem. When people cannot understand the system, they cannot challenge it. In such an economy, prices stop guiding society. They stop signaling scarcity, innovation, or efficiency. Instead, they become noise, numbers floating in a financial vacuum detached from human reality. And that is when a market truly dies, when prices lose their meaning.